there has been rumblings that basically, Kelsey Plum wanted to get the hell away from them. Meaning Becky Hammond and AJ Wilson. And I'm here to tell you guys, it is looking like that way because none other than Kelsey Plum actually fired shots at the Las Vegas Aces in her opening press conference interview. Yes, you heard me correctly.
Kelsey Plum didn't just leave Las Vegas, she sent a message. At her Sparks press conference, she dropped the line everyone is still replaying. She's finally being treated better than she ever has in the WNBA. That's not just praise for LA, that's a direct spotlight on everything wrong in Vegas. Then came her interview with Sue Bird, where Plum doubled down. She wanted more responsibility, more trust, and she wasn't getting it with the Aces. She felt sidelined.
If you really are about it, and you really believe that you are as good as you think you are, and you really think you can impact winning at the highest level,
only one way to find out.
There's only one way to find out. And kind of also too, you also have to have a coach that is no, that's exactly who I want.
Did you catch that? In her own words, she said she wanted a coach who would say, "That's exactly what I want too." That's the vision she has for herself, excelling at the highest level. But does that mean Coach Becky Hammond wasn't fully backing her up? And she's not the only one. Multiple departures now have fans asking if something deeper is wrong in Vegas. Is it AJ Wilson, Becky Hammond, or the front office itself?
Now we know throughout the offseason there has been a lot of chatter behind the scenes in regards to the Las Vegas Aces. The Las Vegas Aces team was completely derailed at the conclusion of the season, which leaving a lot of people to speculate what the hell is going on in Vegas.
Here's the twist. This might not just be a personal move. It could be the first visible crack in the Aces' so-called dynasty. And if Plum's words are any clue, the problems in Vegas run far deeper than anyone thought.
You came from a place in Las Vegas that really valued player health and player experience. I'm just curious what it was about LA that convinced you that the Sparks would also provide a high quality player experience and amenities.
Great question. First and foremost, I 100% had concerns when I first talked to Coach and Reagan, if we're going to be completely honest. And I will say every step of the way, they have not just met but exceeded my expectations. And I've been treated better than I've ever been as a WNBA player.
I've been treated better than I've ever been as a WNBA player. That's the exact line Kelsey Plum chose to deliver at her Sparks press conference. And it immediately sounded like more than just appreciation for her new team. Wearing that LA jersey for the first time, she framed her move as a fresh start, while leaving everyone to wonder what it said about her years in Vegas.
When the Sparks made the announcement, shortly after, you had made a post, and you can just tell the excitement and the energy that's just coming off just what you were saying. Can you talk about your initial reaction when you first found out that you were coming to the Sparks?
Yeah, I just feel like an overwhelming sense of love, I feel like open arms. I was actually in the airport this morning and I was just getting some water and the guy was like, "Go Sparks!" It's just, I feel that. So I'm excited about that because I really do feel like people have kind of already wrapped their arms around me. I haven't even played a game yet. Just the welcoming of my teammates and coach.
And she didn't stop there. Plum emphasized that she was chomping at the bit for the chance to lead, something she felt she hadn't been able to do with the Aces. An interviewer even asked if she wanted to be the head of the snake, and she made it clear that Los Angeles was where she could finally step into that role.
What is it to be the leader? What is it to be the head of the snake? That kind of a vibe. Feels like you just wanted to know. You needed to know.
Yeah, I would hate to have grandkids sitting on the couch and just being like, I wonder if I would have. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That sounded creepy, but
no, not at all. I totally get it. Yeah, you don't want to regret. Is basically what you're saying.
In Vegas, she was often treated like a secondary option, but with the Sparks, she was being handed the keys. That contrast was sharp and intentional. Here's what makes her words even heavier. Plum herself admitted the trade process dragged on for months, requiring patience and approvals. In other words, this wasn't a heat-of-the-moment comment dropped by accident. That sentence was crafted after careful thought, and she knew exactly how it would be heard by fans and media.
You just, with all of your experiences, obviously championship experiences and things of that nature, what was some of of the things that you feel like you can also enhance this team with your skill set? And what was it about this organization that really intrigued you the most to say, this is the place that I need to be?
I think it was first off the vision that Coach had, Coach and Reagan. I think from the beginning, it was just, this tone was set of like, hey, listen, this is Coach in particular. Hey, this is what I want. This is obviously our style of play. I'm very familiar with it.
That's not all. Even in an interview yesterday with legendary player Sue Bird, she said she needed a coach who would truly support her and push her to play at the highest level. And that's exactly what sparked her connection with Coach Lynn Roberts, something she didn't quite feel with her former coach Becky Hammond.
Only one way to find out.
There's only one way to find out. And kind of also too, like, you also have to have a coach that is like, no, that's exactly what I want. And I give Lynn a ton of credit. Like, she's like, you're my person, let's do this. And I was like, wow, okay. So I'm not crazy. At least maybe we're both crazy.
Look at the numbers. This wasn't a role player begging for relevance. Last season with the Aces, she still averaged 17.8 points, 4.2 assists, and 2.6 rebounds. She thrived when given the ball, but the system rarely revolved around her. Los Angeles flipped that dynamic immediately. Instead of being another piece behind Aja Wilson or Chelsea Gray, she's being treated as the centerpiece. For a player hungry to lead, that's not just validation, it's liberation.
She stated, I've been treated better than I ever have been as a WNBA player. Now, that is the comment there that is raising eyebrows amongst fans in regards to Kelsey Plum, stating that she's been treated better so far than she has ever been as a WNBA player.
Fans picked up on the subtext instantly. Social media lit up with people reading the quote as a direct shot at Vegas, not just a compliment to the Sparks. Many saw it as confirmation of the rumors that the Aces culture was more stifling than supportive, where individuality often took a back seat to the collective image. Put all this together, and Plum's comment wasn't just a soundbite. It was the clearest signal yet that something inside Las Vegas has been off. And if one of their stars felt that way, she wasn't the only one, because soon after Plum's exit, the Aces weren't just dealing with criticism. They were dealing with something far more damaging, players leaving in droves.
So, for all Aces fans, it's over. It's over. It's over. The reign of the Aces is over. I understand the shortest dynasty in the history of the sport of basketball. You know, I've never heard of a dynasty that won 2 championships and then was done, because you're seeing all the ring-chasing free agents getting out of Vegas.
What happens when a so-called dynasty starts losing pieces faster than it can replace them? That's no longer a hypothetical. It's happening in Las Vegas. After the Aces fell in the semifinals, Becky Hammond warned that changes were coming. We thought small tweaks. Instead, it's been a steady stream of talent walking out the door.
I mean, obviously we have to get better. We have to really take a sharp look at ourselves, look ourselves in the mirror, see our shortcomings, and then, you got to make the moves necessary, whatever that means, to put the best product that we possibly can. It's not going to be the same group probably next year.
It's one thing when stars leave, that's business. But when role players and veterans, the glue of a locker room, choose fresh starts over staying with a defending champion, it signals something deeper. And the sting is sharper because it all unraveled so quickly, like a chain reaction no one in Vegas could stop. Kate Martin was the first blow pulled into Golden State through the expansion draft. On paper, you can brush that off as bad luck, but Martin's move said more than just expansion rules. She didn't complain, didn't act disappointed. She leaned into it.
I'm really excited. This league is all about opportunity, and you just need one shot, right? And I am very thankful for the Aces and everything I got to learn there, but I'm really excited for this new beginning and to build something from the ground up here with the Valkyries.
For her, it was a clean slate, a chance to build with the new Valkyries. That doesn't sound like someone mourning Vegas. It sounds like she felt boxed in and saw Golden State as an escape. And if the Aces culture was truly that strong, would Martin have been so quick to call it a blessing? Young, developing, yet clearly more excited to leave than stay. Sydney Colson's exit hurt Vegas even worse because she wasn't just a player, she was one of those voices in the room you can't measure on the stat stat sheet. She's been open about how close she was with Ajah Wilson, and yet she's now gone. On her way to Indiana.
You mean to tell me that two-time WNBA champion, the face of the God Dog League, okay? The Aces' main girl, right-hand man, Sydney Colson, is no longer returning to the Aces and is signing with the Indiana Fever? First of all, do the Fever even have any more roster spots open? How many folks are you guys going to sign?
Colson was the spark, the personality that kept things loose. If she didn't see Vegas as worth staying, what does that say about the vibe? When the player who keeps the star happy leaves, you're not just losing minutes, you're losing chemistry, the lifeblood of championships. Then there's Tiffany Hayes. This one almost feels like another twist in the knife. Hayes had previously retired, then came back like she had unfinished business. She gets 6th Player of the Year, she's producing, she's one of the most dangerous scoring threats you can have off the bench. And then she signs with Golden State anyway.
Now, guys, the Las Vegas Aces have entered into a little bit of an interesting moment right now. And it's not a cause for panic per se, but it is a cause for what in the world is y'all's strategy? And the reason why is because, yes, there have been a lot of departures, which I'm going to get into, but also there is a huge thing that you all have to keep in mind is that the Las Vegas Aces do not have a GM right now. They let go of their GM a couple months ago, and they have not put anyone in that place. And so, hey, Nikki Fargas and Becky Hammond are trying to make some wonders without an actual GM. So let's get into specifically what has been happening. So the latest departures for the Las Vegas Aces include 2 heavy hitters off the bench and 2 former 2023 and 2024 6th Players of the Year. First up, we have Alicia Clark, who is heading back to her old stopping grounds in Seattle. And we also have Tiffany Hayes, who is taking her talents to the Bay, joining the Golden State Valkyrie.
That's not a small scratch. That's the kind of loss that messes with your entire rotation. Vegas didn't just lose a veteran scorer. They lost someone who had proven she could accept a bench role and still dominate. You can't go to the store and replace that type of value. She chose an expansion team over staying with the champs. That tells me there was zero trust that Vegas had her back long term. And then Alicia Clark, a veteran leader with championship credibility and one of the most respected defenders in the league, looked at her options and said she'd love to go back to my WNBA home, which is Seattle. That's not just someone signing for money or minutes. That's someone choosing culture.
Start with Alicia Clark. According to Ramona Shelburne of ESPN, the Aces wanted to bring back Alicia Clark. But when Seattle came a-knocking, Alicia was like, you know what? I would love to go back to my WNBA home, which is Seattle. Now, guys, if y'all don't know, Alicia Clark won 2 titles with the Seattle Storm in 2018 and 2020. And now at 37 years old, she is looking to bring her 3-and-D game back to Seattle.
She wanted to go back to what was familiar, to an environment where she felt comfortable. Vegas gave her a title, and yet she still bailed out. That doesn't just weaken their defense. It blows up one of the voices who kept that team glued together when things got tough. Put these exits together, and it's not random. It's a pattern. One by one makes sense, but all at once signals something deeper. The locker room was shaky, and now depth, defense, and veteran presence are gone. That's not strategy, it's dysfunction. The Aces didn't just lose stars, they lost the role players who should have chosen stability. Instead, even they couldn't see a future in Vegas.
Well, I mean, Becky Hammond, you were right. Congratulations, but did you really think it would be this different a roster? Guys, the Las Vegas Aces are looking a whole lot lighter after some of these trades and free agency signings that have happened. And guys, it's leaving the bench to look a little sparse.
When Kelsey Plum said she wanted to be valued, it wasn't an isolated complaint. The exodus proves she wasn't alone. She was just the one bold enough to say it. Veterans and young players alike chose other teams, sending a clear message. Vegas wasn't giving them stability, and if the locker room is fractured, the real issue isn't the roster, it's the front office. The spotlight quickly shifts to the front office, where the real unraveling might have started. The Aces parted ways with GM Natalie Williams, and months later had not publicly named a permanent successor. That left a championship contender sitting in the middle of an offseason storm without a clear architect. In a league where roster stability and cap management decide futures, going this long without a defined decision maker is more than just unusual. It signals uncertainty to everyone watching. Players talk, agents talk, and rival executives definitely take notice when a contender looks leaderless.
So there is a huge thing that you all have to keep in mind, is that the Las Vegas Aces do not have a GM right now. They let go of their GM a couple months ago, and they have not put anyone in that place. And so, hey, Nikki Fargas and Becky Hammond are trying to make some wonders without an actual GM.
Once that move was made, the speculation turned to Becky Hammond. Reports and social media chatter suggested Hammond might want expanded influence, possibly a coach GM role, but that remained speculative. On one hand, the idea made sense. Hammond had built credibility on the bench, and the model of a dual role leader mirrored what she saw under Greg Popovich in San Antonio. One voice at every level can bring consistency, but let's not ignore context. Hammond was already suspended last year for violating the league's respect in the workplace policy. She wasn't walking into this conversation with a spotless record, and adding even more authority on top of existing controversy didn't exactly scream stability.
What is going on in their locker room? Like, this Aces team is falling apart. This is not a coach that I would want to play for.
To many, it looked like consolidation of power during a time when the franchise could least afford another distraction. The distractions piled up. The league fined the Aces and stripped their 2025 first-round pick over a pregnancy discrimination case. A defining moment that raised serious questions about the team's culture. Wins can't erase a failure of basic workplace respect. Then came another hit, a WNBA investigation into possible salary cap circumvention, probing whether hidden benefits skirted the rules. For a team already under scrutiny, it compounded the damage. Instead of innovators, the Aces looked like corner cutters. And in sports, once the headline reads investigation, perception alone becomes punishment.
On top of that, the league is investigating the Aces for potential salary cap circumvention. Back in May, the Las Vegas Convention Authority gave each of the players an additional $100,000 to basically be active in the community.
So now you've got no clear general manager, a head coach rumored to be expanding her power during a credibility crisis, fines and lost draft capital from one scandal, and an ongoing investigation about how fairly the books are being managed. Instead of projecting an image of a dynasty built the right way, the franchise looked like it was unraveling piece by piece. And the effect of all this chaos wasn't theoretical. You could see the impact in real time as key role players and veterans headed elsewhere. That's the chain reaction nobody in Vegas wants to admit. When the front office is in flux and the franchise is under league investigation and sanctions, players with options tend to leave. That explains much of the roster bleeding, and it casts all of Plum's comments in a much clearer light, because her words weren't just about personal feelings. They reflected what the entire organization had become.
But with the rest of the league getting stronger and catching up, the Aces' death took a massive hit, and it won't be smooth sailing as they try to compete for a championship in 2025. And one thing's for sure, guys, Vegas is not rolling, you get it? Rolling the same dice in 2025 as they did in 2024 and 2023. What does that mean for the Aces going forward? We will see. Who knows what the future holds in Vegas? So guys, the question for you is, who do y'all think is going to step up of the current Aces roster? Like, who's going to step up on the bench?
So here's where it all comes together. Three things stand out and make this whole story hard to ignore. First, Kelsey Plum's exact quote, "I've been treated better than I've ever been as a WNBA player." Second, the mass exits. Kate Martin to Golden State, Sydney Colson to Indiana, Tiffany Hayes to Golden State, and Alicia Clark back to Seattle, calling it her WNBA home. Third, the front office chaos. GM Natalie Williams gone with no successor months later. Sanctions that cost a draft pick over pregnancy discrimination, and an ongoing investigation into possible cap circumvention. Was Plum's move the first public crack or an overdue escape? Drop your take in the comments. Aces dynasty over or just getting a reset? If you follow the WNBA closely, this feels huge. So tell me how you think it plays out.